How's it going, everybody? It's me, Shane, and I'm here with my most anticipated review. Been waiting whole 7 days to get to this. It is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District Arc. Final episode. It's episode 11. No matter how many lives. Now that title has a lot of meaning to it when you think about it, especially when you think of rebirth, and especially when you think of how many lives it has taken to defeat an upper rank demon, how many lives it has taken to get up to this point, right? How many generations of people have had to fight these demons? That is something that we don't know just yet, but I have an idea. Man, people like spoiling stuff. Before I get into this, I'm going to first ask you to please give me a like, hit that subscribe button, trying to get 200 subscribers. Leave a comment. I would love to know your thoughts on not just this episode, but this entire. I relent to call it the season because of how the structure is going for Hulu. So how this entire arc, or if you think of it as season two, how this entire season is going, even though technically Mugen Train is technically season two. But I'll get into that in a minute. Before I get any further, I want to address some of the haters because man, last week was so crazy, and I had to log off of some of the social medias, especially the Facebook groups and stuff, because there are so many people that were so mad at folks that were hyped about last week's really great episode, Never Give Up, like legitimately out of the I forget what is it called, the training arc. Like the first season's called like the training arc. I reluctantly really want to call it the Tanjiro arc, but the training arc, the Mugen Train arc, which I still haven't seen the movie, but them chopping it up into another to a season actually is really, it looks really good to me. I wouldn't have been able to tell if it was a movie if I didn't already know about the movie, right? And then this right here, the Entertainment District arc. Last episode was the best episode of the entire series, bar none. It had emotional beats, it had story beats, it had that anime goodness that you want. We don't watch anime just purely for the fights. Well, if you're younger, you do. If you're in your upper 20s, you know, upper your lower 20s, upper 30s, mid 30s, you're probably watching your anime not just to just conk out and watch stuff. You actually want to watch something with some good art and some good substance. And it was really funny because one of the groups, someone had said that Demon Slayer was being carried by his animation. It's kind of funny to say that, given that yeah, it's an anime. Animes are supposed to be carried by the animation. If this looked like trash, no one would watch it. It's the same. It's the same issue. It's when you think about the argument. I think about like One Piece. I'm one of few people, the few people, and it's thousands upon thousands of people that started One Piece. I started One Piece when 4Kids had it, with that horrible dubbing and that horrible, drawing in when there were guns and crap. I watched it in the beginning. Now the animation is you can tell that Oda has gotten so much better at his craft. It looks amazing, and more people are watching it and giving it a chance. So that being said, if this looked like garbage, no one watch it. And yeah, it is fairly different than how the manga panels look, because the manga, it's a very unique art style. I love it for that. And I actually going to quote the person's name is, I think it's Ku Aaron. I'm definitely going to send him this because I told him I want to quote him because he made a really good point online. I just have to say this. People often ask or will dispute why Demon Slayer is so popular, right? As do many of us, being accustomed to the typical shonen anime in which half of the city gets blown up or attacked by, or a galaxy gets taken over by a superior race. In this type of standard that was given to us, which is most shonen anime, you can think of dozens. I can think of three off the top of my head. What was it called? Dragon Ball Z, Naruto Shippuden, Bleach. Off the top of your head, you can instantly think of those. However, Demon Slayer is much better and more unique. Wouldn't say much better, but would say more unique. Furthermore, we see something deeper within the characters. We see them as humans, that they are vulnerable. I'm going to do some paraphrasing because it's very long here, but in this, he makes a great. I'm assuming that is he. I'm sorry. They make a great point. No matter how much training or how much mastery these characters have. Remember, Gyutaro has killed 9 Hashiras. His sister has killed 5, I believe. There's like 4 or 5. There is at least 13 bodies of higher rank pillar masters between them. The difference in this anime, this manga, the series, and everything else is that these are legitimate humans that are pushing themselves to the peak. One of my favorite comic book, I love comic book characters that are on that ground level, humans that are pushing themselves to the peak. Tengen lost an eye and a hand. That is, it shows, it is saying that, hey, even if you're a master, you can still die. Rengoku was within inches of killing an upper ring, but the guy got away because his sword didn't go all the way through, and he ended up dying for it. That is the reason why people love this series. You know, it's crazy that 23 minutes, 33 minutes feels like 5 to 10 minutes if you're just sitting watching it. Unfortunately, I have to stop and take notes. But if you're sitting and watching it, it goes by so fast, which means you're enjoying it. From beginning to end, you are deeply enjoying it. And I fully agree because I love so much that we've never seen an entire city get wiped out, an entire district of any place get wiped out in this series until right now. That is what it takes to fight on par with an upper rank. And actually, this is brought up within the episode. Now, I'm still gonna do a recap, but I'm not gonna make it as long because this was not 45 minutes. This was actually 33 minutes. We got our ending song. We had our opening song as the ending song, which capped it off. Even said Entertainment District End. And that song really encapsulates who Tengen Uzui is. I might put that music video link down below. So we got our recap of the boys doing the damn thing, right? And it turns out that because we get to see it from Tengen's side, when Tengen was trying to warn Tanjiro and tell him we gotta run, the body was swirling with that energy. And when the explosion went off, it was Nezuko falling out of the Nezuko box, reaching that hand out, growing a little bit, and using her demon flames. Her demon flames nullified the attack. So no one had to die. Yeah, no one had to die. And Nezuko, man, Nezuko's MVP. She grew to her upper rank form, even though she went berserk. Grew to her upper rank form, beat ass, and then still had enough time to come back and be like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take care of everybody. And you know, even what's his name? Even Tanjiro looks around and says, "The destruction is just unbelievable." He says, "This is awful." You know, she cuddles him and he pats her head, even though he has 2 very much broken fingers. And he's wondering how he's alive. He's wondering why is he so lucky. And we can hear our buddy Zenitsu. He's awake now because he's crying out. He doesn't know what's going on. He can't feel his legs. His legs are probably broken. And when Tanjiro tries to stand, he can't. He crumples down. So we got tiny baby Nezuko running with her brother on her back. And he's saying, I have no idea what's going on. I'm glad you're okay and I'm okay, but not that I don't deserve pity. Inosuke is not doing good. I can hear his heartbeat growing fainter and fainter. And we see Inosuke laid out on top of a rooftop. Well, used to be a rooftop. And Tanjiro's, crying, legitimate deep tears, trying to figure out, he can feel his heartbeat growing fainter. We can hear it growing fainter. What can be done? Then Nezuko just reached her little hand out. Her flames destroyed the poison within him, which made him rapidly wake up. He's like, I'm hungry. And Tanjiro was just holding him crying out, crying that Inosuke's not dead. It's great. Fantastic. Meanwhile, Tengen's wives are around him. Dude is worse for wear. Suma, the one that acts like Zenitsu, the one that acts like Zenitsu. It's very easy to tell which one that is. She's crying out. He's in horrible shape, and she's, he says he has some parting words for them, but she keeps talking about if you die, I will never pray to you again. And it gets funny. It gets funnier and funnier to the point where Makio, the one with the blonde highlights, she's trying to shove dirt in her mouth. She's like, "Shut up, Lord Tengen is trying to speak." And Hanatsuru, she's also trying to calm them down. And Tengen's thinking, he's like, The poison's starting to stiffen my tongue. I don't even get to say my last word. This is really messed up. And then while all this is going on, a little cute baby Nezuko walking up, reaches her hand up, lights him on fire, which they're all freaking out. And Suma grabs her, is like, "You can't cremate him yet. We haven't. He didn't even say his last words." And she's like, "I'm gonna give you a spanking." His body, the purple highlights on him, of course, the poison burns right out of him. And he's like, "Wow, I'm poison's just gone." And they all jump on him and they're crying and they're happy that he's okay. And Tanjiro comes up again, complimenting his little baby sister, patting her on the head, saying, "Yeah, her flames for whatever reason nullifies the poison. I really don't know how it works either." And we get a very cute little look of, puff of pride from Nezuko. And both Tengen and Tanjiro are telling one another, "Hey, you need to rest because we've been through hell." But Tanjiro cannot let something go. He needs to go and find both of the demon heads because he can't rest until he makes sure that both of their heads are actually off. So while he's riding piggyback on Nezuko, he does smell demon blood. He finds a pool of their blood. He has some of that little weird syringe that Lady Tamayo gave to him. Does the syringe thing, and the ghost cat appears. Tanjiro's such a good character because he pets the kitty, puts it in the pack, and says, gives Lady Tamayo, you be safe and all that. And the shadow cat just disappears as quickly as it came. It's so weird that I love a detail about someone petting the kitty. Anyway, he can still smell the demon scent, so Nezuko is carrying him further, and we hear brother and sister arguing. They're blaming one another about who caused this loss. And Daki's crying. She's full blown crying. She calls him ugly, and she denounces him as a brother. She's like, you can't be my brother because you're so ugly. Blah 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 blah. And then he fires back and says, "You know what? You are worthless, and you can never do anything. I've been carrying you for so long. I should have just left you back there." And right before he says, "I wish you were never born," Tanjiro gets off of his sister and runs and covers his mouth. He's like, "That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. You don't mean that at all." And uh, before I continue with what Tanjiro says, it is kind of fun. Their bickering was funny until that point because she's like, "How did this happen?" He's like, "I was fighting the Hashira." She's like, "Okay, but what about, he said I was going to kill the one kid first with the earrings and then kill the Hashira." She's like, "Well, why didn't you just take over me?" And then all this would have had. It was very funny until it got to this emotional part. And Tanjiro tells a very he tells it like it is because they were getting they were really saying some mean shit to one another. Pardon my language. And he says, "Look, you two need to try to get along because you are all you both have. You've done awful things. No one is going to forgive what you've done." Um, Wait a minute. There was a really good line in here. Oops. He says, "You're going to be despised and denounced by those who you have killed and resented by those who you killed. No one's going to be on your side. So don't curse each other like this." And, she's Daki is crying and telling Tanjiro, "Hey, don't lecture us." And she's like, the voice actress for Daki, she made me choke up. Because these two have been so detestable throughout this entire arc. I've been saying I can't wait to see these two go down. And she made me choke up a little bit because she's crying out to her big brother. She's saying she doesn't want to die. She's scared. Can you fix this? And, they're both disintegrating. They're both actively dying. And her voice cuts out as her head burns up. And he calls out to her, "Ume." He's like, "That's right. My sister's name wasn't Daki. It's actually Ume." He says Ume is actually a really, really ugly name. And he says, "Well, it's not like Ume is any better." So then we get a flashback. And it is interesting to note we get flashbacks for particular demons, such as we didn't get a flashback so much for the string demon, but we did get a flashback for the string mama. We also got a flashback for the one, that weird demon house, the one that did the drums. We got a flashback for him, but not for any of his cohorts. We also got a flashback for. We didn't get a flashback for the Mugen Train kid. So these flashbacks are kind of important to kind of give a. It gives a nice little layer. It makes the enemies sickeningly relatable. So Ume was named after the disease that actually killed their mother. When he was born, his mother actually tried to kill him before he was born, and she was actively trying to kill him when he was alive. Like, we get images of her just hitting on him and everything. We see young geishas throwing rocks at him. People called him worms, good for nothing, detestable. He said it's as if abuse and insults were made just for him. But then the moment his sister was born, all that was changed. She was beautiful, had white hair. They both had blue eyes, mind you. But she was very beautiful. His pride and joy was her. Then, as she was beautiful, he started becoming more prideful in his ugly looks because he became a what am I looking for? He became an enforcer, like a guy who went and grabbed money from people who owed money. He's like almost like a bookie, because his life was horrible. The reason why he had a sickle is a customer one day just happened to leave it there, and that was his only toy. He would eat mice and insects. We see that he killed a snake, and he was eating a snake. And he debt collector. That's what he became. And everything was great. It like Ume's beauty was so amazing that even adults were kind of taken aback by how beautiful she was. But all that changed when she was 13. He was coming in. He had lots of rice. He's coming in, and his sister was in a hole, burnt. Apparently, she had stabbed the eye of a samurai, and as retaliation, they bound her and lit her on fire. And as he came back, this same samurai sliced him in the back. Now, I guess this was a woman of the house, a head woman. She was thanking him for getting rid of him because Gyutaro apparently really roughs up and really beats the crap out of people who owe money. And she's like, he's so ugly. But, it kind of sucks that, Ume's gone, but we'll just replace her with somebody else. And this guy goes, I got to finish the job. Gyutaro was pretty agile and amazing when he was just a human, because he backflips and takes that woman's head off. Like, he sticks that sickle right in her forehead. And this is where we get the Gyotaro we know. He's going to the samurai. You're dressed in a really fine kimono. You look healthy. You look like you eat every day. You probably have a roof over your head. You probably don't know anything about struggling. So why would you cry over one eyeball? As the guy gets ready to try to attack him, he just right in half his head. Cuts him right in half. He's still actively dying, as is his sister. No one's taking them in because what? He stank. He stunk. He was filthy. No one cared about them. There was no mercy. They fall in the street, both on death's door. As snow is falling on them, lo and behold, the prior upper rank 6 demon comes along. This dude has rainbow colored eyes, and make sure I didn't find this. Has rainbow colored eyes, and he's munching on the leg of a woman. He has her head in one arm, and he's just munching on her leg. He's like, man, your sister's about to die. You're about to die. How about I share some of my blood with you? And if you survive, that means you're chosen by him. And who knows, maybe you'll rise up through the ranks and become one of the 12 Kizuki. Now, one thing that I didn't hammer home was some of the dialogue that Gyotaro had when he discovered his sister. Because he was upset that he wasn't there. He was at work while she was working. She's a young geisha, obviously. They lived on the outskirts of the entertainment district. So if you weren't beautiful, if you were ugly, you were worthless, right? But one of the things he says is he thought that fortune and misfortune were intertwined. And he's literally yelling at the gods, yelling at the Buddha, saying, you're trying to collect on me when you've never given me anything. Like, he was genuinely heartbroken about what happened to his sister. So he's always cared about his sister. And obviously, this is the point where him and his sister becomes demons, where he becomes a demon. But herein lies interesting part. He's saying he never regretted becoming a demon because anytime, whenever he gets reborn, he's always going to be a demon. But the one thing he does regret, and we see crossroads, we see a little shrine in the middle. One side, the right side is darkness, the other side is light. He says he regrets his little sister because she was literally raised by him. That's why she was the way she was. Maybe she could have grown up and become a respectable Orion, kind of like the one really nice one that Tanjiro was working for. We get nice little alternate visions of what could have been of Ume, with her white skin, her beautiful blue eyes, being revered. We even get an alternate version of her getting married to a samurai guy, having a kid. He said you could have been a normal girl, born into a good family. She could have been well bred. I don't get that phrase. I didn't have time to look that up. He said she was impressionable, and pliant. Pliant meaning very easily to influence. She could have easily become a very good, upstanding girl. Um, but because he's the one that raised her, that's how she turned out. Take before someone takes from you. That's what he put into it. And this is really sad because it's showing the circumstances that they were born into turn them into who they are. What they have done is very much unforgivable. They've killed scores and scores of people, and we actually see them killing scores of people within this arc, and they are tragic villains. Um, and in this different path, funny enough, when he says, that's why she stabbed the samurai in the eye, we actually see an alternate route where the guy gives her the hairpin and just puts it in her hair, and she's happy as opposed to her having stabbed this guy in the eye. And he's wondering now he in his regular body that he's in this dark escape, this dark area. He doesn't know where he is. That his sister behind him, she's wondering where they are. She is in her original body. She is in her human form, blue eyes, pale skin, pale white skin, all that stuff. White hair. She had white hair. All that good stuff. And he's going that way. He's yelling at her, "Don't follow." And she wants to know why. She wants if he's mad about what she said. She's saying she apologized. She wants him to forgive him. I believe this is actually the afterlife. She said she never thought that he was ugly. She never believed in that. She was just bitter that they lost, and she admits that they lost because of her. She says it's her fault that she didn't actually do more, and she couldn't be more useful. Honestly, it really wasn't true that she may have been the weaker link because her head was beheaded at least I want to say three times. Her head came off three times, while his came off a grand total of one, but it takes three of her to equal one of him. Uh, she was doing pretty damn good until Tengen got there, so. But even still, she's actually been able to kill other Hashiras before, so. I don't really think she was the problem. I just think our four boys were actually just that darn good. Get back to my notes here. And so she's saying she's sorry she dragged him down. And it's wonderful. This art is so wonderful because on the left side where he is, there's just darkness. It's back to her darkness. On her side, there's a light. And he says, "You're not my sister anymore. You're nothing to me. I'm going this way." And he tells her, "Go towards the light." But she runs and jumps on his back and holds on to him. She's saying she's never going to leave him. They're always going to be together. No matter how many times she's reborn, she's always going to be his little sister no matter what. And, he's asking that she doesn't hate him or doesn't scold. I mean, she's asking him that she doesn't hate her and doesn't scold her. And, she's saying she'll never forgive him if he leaves her behind. He looks really sad. And you see him reach for her hand like he was going to throw her off, but he doesn't. And she's asking, "How could you? Like, did you forget the promise you made a long time ago?" And his eyes widen as he remembers when they were really young, when she was really young. Back in the very, very old days of Japan, very, very old days, in order to keep warm, they had obviously straw hats, right? Well, they had all straw outfits, and you can see this in lots of media. Actually, if you're playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, you can actually see some of these outfits on the side. So, pardon me. So he has them both wrapped up in this big straw outfit. Now he's not actively talking, but he probably said this during this moment. And where is he? Now, this whole entire time, mind you, Ume has been crying because she doesn't want to let her brother go. But in this flashback as well, he promises that they'll always be together. He'll never leave her behind. He says, "You're not afraid now, right?" And she looks super little. She's crying a little bit. And he's telling her, don't worry about being hungry or or cold. None of that stuff bothers us because together we can't be beat. And he promises that they'll always be together and that he'll never leave her. And so she's crying, and he kind of bends down and hoists up her legs, and they both walk towards the fires of justice in hell. And as we go, we come back to the real world. Both Tanjiro and Nezuko, I guess, were both holding his head up. And his dust becomes green and just kind of goes up into the air. That kind of signifies rebirth in a way. And Tanjiro wonders if they both made up. And of course, Nezuko nods, and it's finally over. Um, just with how terrible and detestable and evil they were. I'm so mad at these showrunners. I'm so mad that they made me feel bad for these two. I feel bad for the circumstances, but you always have a choice, right? They had a choice to not go and kill people. Lady Tamayo, she chose to go a different path. That means everyone can go a different path. But I digress. Um, so suddenly we see the Snake Hashira. I don't remember this guy's name, but it's a pretty funny comedic scene at first because he's like, "Oh, so you defeated the upper six. That's not too high, but it is it's upper six. So I guess congratulations are in order." And just Tengen and his wives just all have the funny oval faces. And he's saying, your praise isn't going to do anything for me. And the more talkative of his wives, Makio and Suma, they're both saying, you took your time getting here. And Suma kind of goes forward and is pointing at him. And the snake that's around his neck just hisses. One thing I do find interesting, he has a yellow eye and a green eye. He has heterochroma. The one demon we saw in the past, the former upper six, has rainbow colored eyes that were kind of similar hue. I wonder if there's any relation there. Anyway, Snake hisses, she runs to Tengen's lap, and Snake Hashira is saying, so you lost your left hand, your left eye. How long is it going to take you to return to duty after defeating the upper six? I'm like, shit, dude. This dude was literally on death's door, like, the whole entire time. Missing. Now he has a stump. He hasn't. They say arm, but it's not really arm. He got cut here. He's missing this, right? And he's missing his eye was deeply cut. And you're already asking when you're gonna get back to work. Kind of sounds like modern day standards, right? And Tengen just says, "Yo, I'm retiring. There's no way I can still fight." And he's like, "I'm sure the master's gonna accept it." But the Snake Guy's like, "I'm not gonna accept it. This is ridiculous. We, all the young demon slayers are dying before they can even reach their potential and get to our level. On top of that, we still have the vacant seat of Rengoku." And Tengen says, "Nah." But he says even someone uninspiring as you would be better than nothing at all. This dude's an a-hole. So he's like, just battle until you die. And he's like, nope. There's actually a youngster that's about to reach his potential pretty dang soon for sure. And he says, it's the guy that you hate. He's like, no way. He's like, he survived this battle. Commando Tanjiro riding on Nezuko. Yeehaw! He survived this battle. I guess the Snake Guy really didn't like him. Well, we don't really like you that much either, Snake Guy. So don't have no sad backstory or some weird likable persona that's gonna make me feel bad for you, like I did with Kyojiro Rengoku and Tengen Uzui. Don't have one. Stay being a jerk. Don't be like Orochimaru. I actually like Orochimaru. Don't be likable. Don't be likable. And so, as fate has it, the master's name is Kaguya, Master Kaguya, Kagaya, Cagay. He heard, and this is all in the same night. He got word by crows that they defeated an upper rank, and he's very happy for Tengen, Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. And his condition looks much worse, like the thick purpleness that's around him. I'm wondering if he was actually poisoned as well, but he's just looking worse for wear. But he is happy. He's sitting up here coughing. He's coughing up blood, and I believe Amane is his wife. I'll tell you why in a second. He says, Amane, this is great. Like in 100 years, nothing has changed, and now this is highly significant. In 100 years, they have never defeated an upper ranked demon. Wow. And he tells her this is an omen. This means fate's about to change, and consequences are going to be sweeping through everything around them, shaking them to their core. He's like he's losing a lot of blood. He's coughing up a lot of blood. It's pooling on the floor. And he's like, eventually this is going to reach that man, Muzen Kibutsuji. Man, why did they give him such a hard name? Goodness. It's going to eventually reach him. He's like, yo, we're going to defeat you within our generation. And he's coughing wildly. And he's saying, without fail, it's going to happen. He's the sole blemish on his family. And two young girls that were his attendants before, those are actually his daughters. So Amane tells him to come in, boil some water, get his medicine. And suddenly the upper rank 3, Akaska, he's in that dimension, which he says is the alternate dimension. He realizes that since they've been summoned, it can only mean but one thing. Someone in their ranks has died. And we hear that whang. I forget the name of the Japanese string instrument with the fan, but you hear that. We cut back to the battlefield. Tengen and his wives are walking away. He's hurt. They're happy. They all made it out alive, and he's like, it's gonna be a flashy homecoming. But our sweet boys in Nezuko, like Tanjiro is hugging everybody. Tanjiro's been hugging everybody, and they're all crying. I didn't know if Inosuke was crying because he was in the board match, but you can hear him crying. They're all crying because every last one of them made it out alive. Not Nezuko. Nezuko's the cute baby. Nezuko is just there enjoying the hug. Zenitsu and Tanjiro openly weeping. Inosuke quietly crying because remember he did get stabbed through the chest. And it's just great. And this is when the opening song comes on. Felt like a movie. Yeah, let's go. I want to go back for a minute. That's pretty amazing. Dang, I'm already at 30 minutes. That's pretty amazing that 100 years they have never defeated an upper rank. All these upper ranks have killed tons of Hashiras. Akaska told Rengoku he's killed many Hashira who chose to not join up and become demons and fight with him forever. Gyutaro and his sister, between the two of them, have killed 13 Hashiras. They have finally got one victory in 100 years. Now, I know that seems like, it doesn't really matter. Generationally speaking, and you can see this in the real world as well, when there is a slight shift in things, it can be the ripple that leads to the tidal wave. I am looking forward to the next season. I'm pretty sure they have I'm pretty sure I saw a teaser trailer for that already up somewhere on Twitter. If I can find it while I am editing this, I'm going to slap it in the description, just like I'm going to slap the theme song. I'm going to give you the direct music video by Eimer for the opening. It already has the lyrics up, and if you don't see the lyrics, hit the closed caption. It's in English. Guys, I love this arc. This is probably one of the best arcs in anime that I can think of. Man, it is sad that I'm going to have to wait a while for it to come back. But you know what, Ufotable? Take your time. Don't push your employees. I'm going to... Now, if I was to rank the first season of Demon Slayer, the last two episodes kind of were slowed out a bit and were kind of getting you geared up from Mugen Train. I will give that first season, out of 5, that first season gets a 4, a very high 4. Because that last fight with the Hino Kamikagura, that's some good stuff, man. Excuse me. Mugen Train. Mugen Train flipped the script and showed, man, doesn't matter how high up you are, you can still get your stuff pushed in. But it showed us how strong they actually are. That's a five. I want to give that a 5 out of 5, even though it ended on such a downer. Like that was a turning point, and this here's a turning point. We get 4 for the first season, 5 for Mugen Train. I'm giving this a 5 because, man, it had the absolute best episode of the whole entire series. It doesn't just get a 5. It gets golden 5. It gets a golden 5. I'm just making it up just for this. That's a golden 5. Amazing. Amazing. If you have not seen any of this, I don't know why you're here because I'm spoiling so much for you. I still appreciate you being here. Go and watch it. I'm probably going to rewatch this when I have time because I got some more stuff I need to watch and bring to you guys. So, all in all, amazing characters, amazing story bits. Yeah, when it comes to shonen anime, the story is a little bit loose, but it's driven by its characters, it's driven by its heartfelt moments, it's driven by that amazing animation and music. Please let me know what you thought in the comment section down below of the Entertainment Art District. Don't forget to hit me up with a like. It really helps out the channel. And subscribe too, because we're going to keep going to the moon. And if you're already subscribed here, don't forget to hit that notification bell. You want to be notified of more stuff like this, right? I'm definitely coming back whenever Demon Slayer comes back. You don't want to miss what I think about it, right? As always, don't forget to share the video so others can also have a great time. Please, I cannot stress this enough. I thank you so much for taking some time out to listen to me babble on about how great Demon Slayer is. And you guys already knew how great it was, right? So, for me and the boys, be good, be blessed. Wash your hands, wear a mask, be safe out there. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. And I will most definitely see you guys next time.